Thank you so much, Shruti. So I'll just take from what Shruti was sharing today. My agenda is to make this practical and applicable. So to do that, I have also designed a workbook that you can use along with me in today's session. Okay, so the way the program is designed today, I'm very cognizant that all of you are running established businesses and you are now looking at scaling to the next level. Correct? So I am, rather than giving you gyan on what you should be doing, I'm sure you can give me a lot of the information about your industry specifically. Rather than doing that, what I'm going to help you between today and even the next section that I'm going to be connecting with all of you all is how to make choices and decisions for your expansion program. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be focusing upon today. And for to help you do that, there is a workbook that I have also included. I'll share the link I think in the second or third slide, I will be sharing that. So you can download that and you can start, it's in a Word document, so you can actually start typing into it directly. Or for those of you who prefer to use a pen and paper, keep that ready with you so you can start writing these things down for yourself. Okay? Great. You can have the deck, but I've tried to write the book in such a manner, which is all, actually, it's not a book. It's um, a culmination of all the decisions you're going to be taking uh, for your expansion plan. Okay, so it's designed more not to give you gyan, but it's designed to help you put all the decisions together, to see them together. So you'll be very clearly, you'll understand where there is a gap, where you've thought really deeply, where you haven't thought deeply, where you need some work. Okay, so that's the way it's designed. So let's get started. And of course, I'm going to give you the deck, so don't worry on that. I'll share it with the Vadwani team itself. Okay, so let's get started. There is so much to cover. I've tried to bring it as much as possible together that we can cover in 2 hours. So, but let's get started. Okay, so like I mentioned today, that most of you here have been running businesses. So that means there are already multiple opportunities and possibilities that you have already considered to grow your business, right? But the challenge is not always about which direction should I go. The challenge always is to make sure that we're making the right choices, the right decisions, and at the right time. So that's the work that we are going to be doing today. So this is how the program is designed. Today is the first session with me. It's focused on market expansion. This entire program is designed as a workshop, not as a gyan session. A workshop would be where you and I are working together, okay? And you will be using the workbook. I will give you the link to download that in a minute, okay? For me, at the end of this, you should have clarity, and when you do the workbook, the work on your workbook, you would have designed your next 90 days market expansion plan. Why did I choose 90 days? It's a next quarter and we are right in the middle of the first quarter. So it's the right time for us to start planning the next quarter. And two, this short period of time gives you an opportunity to test some of the things which you're not very sure about and learn how to validate and test that so that it becomes a part of your habit and business as you're growing your business from the next quarter onwards. Then next week on the 23rd, I'm doing a second session, which is on sales engine. Once you have decided which markets you're going to be expanding towards and why and how, etc., that's when we will now move to sales engine. The good thing about the sales engine is that you will be able to amplify your existing businesses as much as design your next growth businesses with a predictable, repeatable sales engine as such. Okay. At the end, same format, workbook and workshop both will be there. And at the end of that, once you've finished all of that, you will have a 90 days lead generation plan. Okay. Then session 3 is where I'll be opening up my calendar for a one-to-one mentoring with each one of you. This will be opened only from the 1st July onwards. I will share that link with you in my next session though. Okay. So why the 1 week gap is that I wanted to come to this mentoring session after you have done the work on both the workbooks, so that we focus on the execution clarity that you require for your business. So that one-to-one mentoring, that we will focus on how, if there are pieces which you're not very sure of, if there are two conflicting priorities, that's the time that we will be discussing all of these things, right? So with this entire 3 sections or sessions, I'm hoping that you will have a 100% clarity on what's your market expansion plans, how are you going to create that sales engine for yourself, and how will you actually execute all of these learnings into practical things which you can apply in your business. Okay. Now, to get you started, like I mentioned, here is the link. Let me also share this in the chat. You can go here and download the 90 days market expansion plan, which is what we're going to be using today. It will require you, I think it will ask you to log in. So you can use your Gmail or any ID, log in, and just there's no, it's free. So you can just go ahead, just simply, even if it's saying buy, it's actually free. So just go download it and keep this ready with you so that we can start. We will use this throughout the day today. I'm going to give you a moment to do this. You can use the QR code or the email or the link which I've shared here. You can access it both through your mobile and your desktops. Absolutely no problem on that. While you are doing this, let me quickly introduce myself so that you understand who is this person who is, talking about mentoring you towards your market expansion and your sales engine. So I have been somebody who has, I have started my journey as a SME business owner. In fact, I was my dad's business partner when I was 17 years old, and we were in the business of trading silk and silk and cotton dyes and chemicals in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. That was Bangalore, Chennai, and Salem. So that was my learning from my sitting with my dad, understanding how to run an SME business. Over a period of time, I moved out. I got into the corporate world. I understood how corporates do their sales. I did a lot of work with the corporates, and I also went back and started my own business, which was about hiring and consulting for sales professionals. So that's why I got a great exposure for both sides of the world, the SME and the corporate world as such, right? And in the last couple of years, I have donned the hat of a business coach and a sales mentor. My focus is on revenue growth, and I specifically work with SME business owners, especially the ones who have who are planning to hire a sales team or who have a sales team, because that's where we're talking about accelerated revenue growth also. While I work extensively, and I'm going to be giving you a lot of my examples about some of the clients in today's session, and how we have looked at the market expansion. While we have done all of those things, I've also been extremely lucky. You'll have to put yourself on mute if you are. Okay. I've been extremely lucky to also have worked with some of the best leading entrepreneurship ecosystems in India. Vadhvani is definitely one of them. I've also worked with IITs and IIMs, BITS Pilani, Google for Startup, Telangana Hub, etc., where I'm constantly been invited to run workshops for the smaller organizations who are ready to start scaling. I've also been really lucky to be able to work across India, Africa, and US. And what I've learned by working with SME business owners, family-run business owners, solopreneurs, small teams, and startups, and across all of these countries is the sales challenge for every entrepreneur can actually be broken down into common blocks, which is common across different sizes of organization, different industries, and different countries. The intensity of the problem changes, the flavor of the challenges changes, but the elements of the challenge remains the same. And I've been successful in bringing all of these, working with each type of organizations on this. Great. So let's get started with this. I hope by now you have downloaded your the workbook also. Okay, so
we couldn't able to get that template. Basically, we logged into that place. I logged into the place when I see in the dashboard. I couldn't able to. It's basically asking me to go to the store.
No, if you have logged in, it will be in your courses or digital products on your left side. You will be able to see it.
Yeah.
My name is Ashwant.
I've had people who have downloaded it. Sagar, Mayur, sorry. Can you just share with, and even Dr. Handwan? Sorry. Yeah. Was it available for you on the left panel where you were able to access it? On the left panel, or when you were just simply able to see it on your main page itself?
Yeah, got it.
Got it. Where was it, Rajesh? I don't know.
It was there in the digital product, inside the
digital products. In the left panel, digital products, or on the top banner, digital products?
On the top banner, the top right corner.
Guys. So once you have acquired it, then you will see on the top panel, you will see digital products. Under that, the book will be there. You can just download it. Yes, Ashwant? Ashwant, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, ma'am. I just joined the call. So I just want to know, where should I download what? I'm really sorry.
There is a workbook which I have. This is the link that you can download. We will be using this workbook during today's session.
Okay, done.
Okay.
I'll do it. Sure. Thank you.
So let's get started. We will start with the first question. And by the way, this is going to be an interactive session. Okay, it's not as me giving you gyan. So I am going to make you do the work. I am going to ask you some questions. You are welcome to ask me some questions also. Okay. We are not going to leave the questions only towards the end. I want to make sure that I think we're covering about 8 sections today, and all the 8 sections you should get as much clarity as possible. Okay. So my first question to you is, I'm sure most of you have already considered the different directions in which you want to go for your market expansion. So on your screen, I have kind of noted down the 10 most common reasons I get, directions in which I see most of the SME business owners trying to grow. I want you to make a note and share with me which growth direction are you considering, the one which is your more, currently, what is the one which you are most focused upon, which you're most tempted to explore? Okay, by the way, I will tell you when to use the workbook. Okay. There are separate sections when I will bring up a slide saying this is workbook activity. For now, please concentrate on the screen. So which of these are you planning? Which growth direction are you planning? So I have Prateek focusing on new geography, others, new customer segment and export. Falak saying 6, 9, 10, 6, 3, 6. Okay, interesting. So does everybody have a direction? Is there anything here which you're planning and it's not a part of this list? Anybody? No? Okay. What I'm seeing is quite a few have more than one direction, right? Sales team expansion is not here. Let me see. Sales team expansion is new sales team expansion is there. Okay, done. Okay. So now let's look at, so this is, now that all of you have the growth direction in which you are considering right now, let me ask you the next question. Okay. Why this particular growth direction which you have chosen for your business, why does it look attractive? What is the why behind choosing that direction? Again, there are 10 11 options on the screen. Tell me which one of it is most the one which you considering it, and if there's something which is not here, please share that also. And this why is very, very important. Let's see. Okay, we've got higher margin potential. We've got large domestic markets. 5 market existing pressure. 7 pressure to grow faster. Domestic markets. Customer inquiries. Okay. For those of you who are mentioning pressure to grow faster, would you want to share what's the pressure that you have? Would like to know that. Unmute yourself and share it, or just put up your hand and I'll call out your name. Anybody?
Can I start?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Rajesh.
So Neetu, challenge for us is like right now it's like there is a constant increase on the raw materials and like constant increase on the product rate, and we are barely touching the break even or sometimes surpassing the break even. For us to sustain this bigger team, for us to sustain move into a little bit of luxurious environment, right? So more sales
That's
growth
the
is
pressure
somewhat
that you are
required.
feeling. Got that. Rajesh, which is your business? I'm sorry, I can't see your name. That
We are into e-commerce, and also we
okay.
have some small manufacturing units.
What's the name of your business?
It's a company called Spillbox Innovation, and we are
Okay.
based in Chennai.
Okay, got that. Okay, done. Will do. So I get that. Pressure to grow faster. I get that. Changing the ecosystems. And how many of you have this challenge where we've got the startups coming into your space with a completely different business model? Anybody having that kind of a challenge?
Yeah, it's if I can start.
Yes, Prateek.
Yeah, actually the thing is, we are into the plastic manufacture, like plastic processing machineries. So in the current scenario, what is happening? Like the auxiliary products like bale press and the basic products. Right now, the startups are entering into the market with a different price segment and different quality segmentation, where like the customers are like moving ahead to them, and
Mm,
due to the lack of knowledge of the customer itself, what is the
mm,
thing is like there is like diversity in the segment, right? And we cannot
got that.
focus on core customers. So that's a big
Got
threat for us also.
got that. Got that. So fantastic. And is that impacting the growth direction that you are planning, Prateek?
Definitely, yes.
So what is the impact for you?
Like eventually in the beginning, what I was able to do is I was able to cater the Gujarat market. Eventually, we are
Mm-hmm.
from Gujarat also. So I
Mm-hmm.
was able to cater the Gujarat market on a very prominent basis. But right now, due to the competitors on a smaller scale, I'm not able to cater the whole Gujarat. That's why right now I'm moving ahead of Gujarat and trying to cater the larger domestic market.
Interesting. Interesting. So are you seeing sometimes the growth directions is a lot of is impacted by external factors also, correct?
Definitely.
Yeah. So that okay. Now out of this, one particular area which I wanted to also highlight is how many of you are looking at a new growth direction because your production capacity is very high and it is not yet, you know, and you're not utilizing it completely. And that's why you think it's time for you to grow your markets. Got that. I've got some people. Yes, Shrijit, you want to share, give us a little context on that, please?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, Shrijit.
Yeah, yeah. So current our capacity is only running at 40 to 45 percentage, and
Hmm.
still we have not utilized it to full.
Fantastic. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
and
So,
we are
and
catering. Yeah,
please go ahead.
yeah, we are catering to the OEMs, and we are new to the market.
Okay.
So it's just a 1.5 year old company that we have been doing with
That makes
OEMs.
sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. So and because of that, what is the growth direction that you're looking at now? Going beyond
Uh,
OEMs now?
yeah, and export also we are doing, looking for the
Exports
export
also.
market also. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so this is a common thing I see with a lot of us where um, we start with expand. Either we say, okay, we have additional capacity, so now it's time for us to grow. Or second one is that okay, if we have to grow, let's start with increasing our existing capacity. Both of the things happen, right? So with both the reasons, I wanted to understand before we start investing or looking at capacity, uh, what evidence do we have that there is more demand for our products and services in our existing market and in our neighboring market? Any thoughts on that, Srijit?
Yeah, actually, being in a geography in India, our competitor is China.
Okay.
So the West is what we are looking to expand in the export market, as the goods reach very fast to them than Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
So that price point only we can cater to the customer in West. Currently, West is disturbed, so it's a little bit problem is going on down there.
Okay.
Everything will go in line. USA is a good market to us as we manufacture hydraulic cylinders. Uh,
Okay.
my company name is Jeet Hydraulics.
I saw that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. So we cater to agriculture, industrial, construction equipment manufacturers, material handling. So it's a diversification of the OEMs that we are focusing on.
Got that. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Srijit.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
the point of this conversation was that when we focus on building operational expansion or capacity first and think that market expansion, we will think about it afterwards. That is the place where there is I often see quite a lot of organizations doing this. The reason I also understand is because it's most of us come from an operational or domain expertise, so it's easier for us to do that expansion, and it's more difficult to look at sales and marketing expansion. So ideally, if you are looking at increasing your current production capacity or increasing your operational expansion right now, simultaneously also start planning for your market expansion. It is not a before and after decision, it's a together decision, especially if you have long B2B sales cycles. So with the example that Srijit has given, I understand that the Western market right now is not the best place to enter into our market. But keeping in mind your sales cycle, if your sales cycle is something for you to sign up with a large client takes time, and if that time is anywhere between 6 months to a year, you will still need to start sometime today, even if it's the wrong time to close sales, but this is the right time to maybe build relationships. Right. So that's one thing I wanted to say is that it's not a before and after. Sometimes it's a together decision, especially when we have a long sales cycle.
Yeah, in OEMs, it's a long sales cycle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So the way we position is we think about that this is the time that we build relationship, because if we wait for the markets to improve, and then we're anywhere looking 6 months, 1 year after that. So that
Correct.
means our own sales cycle extends so much as such, right? So, but the only thing is our success metrics is not actual sales happening, but success metrics is how many potential buyers are we introducing ourselves to and being in touch with them. That's the right now. Whenever they are ready to buy is when then maybe we will be able to reduce the sales cycle at that time. That's the logic that I wanted to share also. Okay. Okay. Great. So for us, I was started with saying, I think, and I noticed when all of you were talking about growth directions, there are multiple growth directions that you are considering. So the challenge is never about, where the opportunity exists. I'm sure each one of you can identify more than one direction. But for me, Growth is actually about choosing the right direction, especially the one where we can win. Isn't that what we all want? Rather, if we want to get into a battle for the attention and the wallet of the customer, we better choose the battle where we know we will win. Correct? And that is what we are trying to we are trying to find out within today's session. Okay. So how does it sound, guys? Choosing to win rather than choosing to just be there.
It makes sense, Neetu. It makes absolutely sense because opportunity is there everywhere,
Correct.
right? Like what opportunity we can actually bite and digest all matters as of now.
Absolutely. And this is where you will be designing your growth plan, which is very exclusive to your organization. Two of you can be in the same industry, maybe even catering to the same geography, but your expansion plans which will be a reflection of your strength can be very, very different. Okay. So before we jump into the expansion plan, there's one more aspect I want you to think about. Okay. All of you are here in industries where there are already competitors available, and most of you are targeting customers who are potentially already working with somebody else right now. Okay, and this is one aspect quite often we miss out when we are looking at a revenue growth plans as such. Okay, so the customer obviously is not waiting with an empty table. They're already talking and working with somebody. So I want you to make a note of currently who is catering to that customer's needs, whether it's an existing customer, existing supplier, or there is an existing distribution relationship. They're already importing the products from somebody else, some other place, and you are now bringing in, an Indian manufactured aspects to it. Whichever it is, they have alternatives. For many of us, they're already using a China-made product, and we are trying to bring in our own product lines, which may be price-wise may not be the best option for the customers. I wanted to note all of these because this is one area we should not ignore, because this is one of the this will also define who are we competing against. So it's not enough for us just to be present in the markets that we want to grow. If we are wanting to win, then we also want to figure out how do we win that. And that is one of the aspects is who is the customer already working with, right? Second one, what would be the reason for the customer to shift? Do they have a problem which the existing supplier is not able to cater to? Do they have, maybe they don't have a problem, but they have a need which the existing suppliers are not catering to. Okay, and you can actually offer that. Okay, is there a goal that the client has, or is there something that the client has to do extra over and above after buying from their existing suppliers? Is there a reliability concern? Is your client suddenly having a huge demand which cannot be efficiently catered to by their existing service providers or suppliers? This reason is very, very important for you to understand. And this is one of the most common gaps that I see, because many a times we do our expansion plans, we land up at the doorstep of the customer, and then we get to know this information. At that time, we are scrambling to figure out how do we address this. So this should also be a part of our decision. Why should the customer because right now you are the new kid on the block, you're the new one, right? So why should they take the risk of shifting from their existing supplier and choosing you instead? This clarity, this homework is required by you. Because if you don't address this, you will land up talking to the customer, and the customer will say, thank you very much, sounds very interesting, but I'm already working with somebody. So your entire effort of reaching to new customers, or maybe existing customer with new product, will actually get nullified, because this part you haven't thought through in detail. Okay. So 3 things: current stage, the reason for the customer to shift, and what will you, so the customer may have 5, 6 reasons, but you may specifically, what is your value proposition is what we need to be clarifying. Now, this is where we will now use the book. In your book, there is section 1 called growth, direction, and customer shift. Okay. So this is the space where you are going to do the work. And what's the question you're going to look at for your whichever selected growth move that you started with initially? Okay. What is it that you're expecting the customer to change? You're expecting them to change from an existing relationship, from a smaller service provider to maybe you, a bigger service provider, from a China purchase based imports to a domestic purchase, or vice versa, from a domestic purchase to an Indian imported purchase. What is the change you're expecting the customer to do? I want you to be very, very clear why that's what is the change, so that you can now design your, when we are looking at your sales strategies next week, we will actually be able to work with this. Okay. So while you're doing this, if anybody has a new idea, has a new clarity, suddenly there's an aha moment that, oh, okay, I did not think I'm expecting my customer to make this shift. Is there anybody here who's got that and want to share it with the group here? No? Any clarifications, guys? Something which is not clear for you?
See, sorry, Falak here.
Yes, Palak.
I have a question.
Haji.
Actually, this reads more like a from a B2B kind of a options where
Correct.
we are into a retail.
Got that.
So I'm just trying to make that fit, that how exactly we translate this.
I get that. So I understand. Most of my examples are going to be B2B, because I think most of the businesses here are B2B, but the same concept applies for B2C also. Palak, what's your business?
We are into fine jewelry. We have a lab-grown diamond jewelries in gold and platinum.
Got that. And you're the one who's planning shop in shop also, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So you are targeting B2C, as in the consumers who are going to be walking into your store, physical, online, and other stores. Is that your growth?
So currently we do have one store in Surat, but
Acha.
majority of the revenue comes from our online website,
Okay.
through more through online assisted. And I think our entire the way we operate is that make the high value purchase convenient for the high value buyers who don't either have a time or don't want to run around to 10 shops to find
Got that.
best jewelry. So this is the kind
Got
of
that.
a
That's your
customer
value
segment
proposition.
whom we are.
Okay. What's the growth expansion direction that you're looking at?
So what do you mean by that?
The first slide is which is the direction? What is the next plan, expansion plan? Which direction
So
are you looking at?
two things we are. So because our website is a very big kind of a platform for us. So we are in a process to redevelop some of the bottlenecks and redesigning the website.
Okay.
For domestic market. At the same time, once that is done, we will have a separate website for an international market with an international payment gateways.
Got that. Got that.
In domestic market, we are looking for more shop-in-shop kind of a touch points with either multi-designer studios, because many of the customer, for them, jewelry is still very touch and feel kind of a thing, and also very trust-based kind of a thing. So we lose quite a bit of leads, just because we don't have a physical presence. They don't expect us to have a 3-floor level store, at least there is a touch point where they can come and see, or they can pick up their products and then pay, things like that options, but we tried that with one of the couple of jewelers, but it didn't work very well, because as soon as they enter to a jewelry shop, the existing jeweler basically turns them into something else, right?
Got that.
So predominantly we are looking for more of a multi-designer studios or a bridal outfit studios where we can combine, because we do have a customization option with us.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll use your example, Falak. And while I'm giving this example for Falak, I think this will be applicable for a lot of you also. Okay, two things. You are looking at two directions. One is, how do I reach out to more B2C customers, right? Or how do I? And one of the directions there is bringing in more traffic on your existing website, which is why you're removing all the bottlenecks over there, right? That's one part of it. Now there also, if you're looking at it, that your customer, your B2C customer, okay, what are the other options that they are exploring? Generally, if I'm using my own example as a consumer, I'm going to wear the consumer's hat right now. Okay, if I want to buy a lab-grown diamond and I'm decided I'm going to buy it online, okay, I will not go to one single online store and buy it. I'm going to look through 3-4 of them. Okay, actually, I'm doing exactly this right now because I have to go for a wedding at the end of this month. Okay, so I'm going to look at 3-4 of them, and then I'm going to be choosing. Okay, so what you're doing, your consumer right now, even your consumer is looking at, one is looking at other competitors, other similar online one. And this is one segment. Then there's a segment who are right now going and buying it physically. Okay, and you're asking them to change the behavior from, like you said, from the touch and feel to come and buy it online. That's the behavior change. This is the why that slide to I'm sure you know is relevant to the second example. Okay, so you think about I'm assuming, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, you will have more number of people who prefer buying it physically, especially because lab-grown diamond is still new in India, right? To see the look and feel, and lesser who are ready to come and just buy it online. Okay, so if you take that example and use that, try to solve from their perspective, solve this problem, you will then be able to apply this for all the others, for later on for shop in shop also. I'm sure whoever that you're talking to, they will have others who would have approached them with a similar offer like yours. Okay, so why would they choose? Either they have somebody existing, or why would they choose you? Is the same question that we're going to be answering. So for both B2C and B2B, it will still be applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense, Falak?
Right.
Okay. I want to quickly check with all of you all. Is it okay if I speak a little bit in Hindi and English, or it's only English? I can do both. I'm just figuring out, because I see we have a very variant audience from South and North. Only English. Okay, perfect. Okay, that. Because last time somebody corrected me and told me ki little bit of Hindi also you should speak in between. I'm like, okay, I did not realize. So please, anything, keep sharing it with me, because I want to make sure that you are able to understand and apply this in your business. अगर आप कहीं पे समझ लगता है कि मुझे समझ पे नहीं आया, please say ask me. I will repeat in Hindi also, but I will focus predominantly in English. If you need clarity, please tell me and I will also add Hindi. Okay? Okay, so let's get back over here. So what we're going to do with the workbook, right? I know you've got multiple expansion plans. I know there are multiple opportunities you're chasing. I wanted to choose one and work with it. So if you understand how to, how to do the entire journey with one idea, you will be able to go and replicate it for your other ideas also. Don't try to, in this session and next session, don't try to work with multiple ideas at the same time, because then you will get confused. I pick up one, get 100% clarity. I have to do this. This is what I have to, where I have to think deeply. This is where I have taught already very well. I know this is my strength. Get that clarity so that you can then repeat the process for other expansion growth areas also. Okay. So Falak, for you also, pick up one. Pick up either the B2C expansion or the shop-in-shop idea and work with that idea. and then replicate it later on afterwards again, you can do it. Anyway, when we do one-to-one mentoring, we can discuss both of them later on at that time.
Sure.
Makes sense? Huh?
Yes.
Chalo. Okay, let's get back. But keep the questions coming. I'm happy that you are asking me so that I can make sure that the clarity is there. For me, this part is expecting the customer's behavior to change is very important, mainly because if you see, a lot of the D2C brands are focusing on this customer behavior change. They spend a lot of time on that, but most of us in B2B or traditional businesses don't give it that kind of a thought, including, like earlier I said, some of them, that there are some areas where startups are entering into it. And for us, it is important to also understand that if the customer is working with a startup, what is the challenges that what could be the reasons for them to shift to us? We need to give it thought beforehand, and in fact share this with our sales team who will face these challenges when they are meeting these customers. Okay, that's the work that we have to do now. So let's I hope you've seen this section on your workbook, and this is the area that you have to make a decision and note it down, so that this decision flows through your entire 90-day plan that we are going to be creating. Okay, now let's move forward. So what are we going to be testing today? Okay, that one is, where should we grow, which is the market. What will make the customer choose? We're going to go a little bit more deeper into this, and are we ready to execute? What are the gaps that is there currently, and what we should prep for? This is the work that we're going to be doing in today's session. Okay, so like I said, we'll use one growth idea only and work with that, even though you may have more than one growth areas that you are planning for. Okay, any doubt on this, guys? No, na? Clear? Okay. So let's move. So we're going to start with the expansion plan. The common mistakes that I see with when we get very gung-ho, very energized with on our expansion plans. A lot of them, a lot of these businesses who have a lot of struggle for expanding is not just because the market is bad, but because they have not pressure checked their own business and the market before entering into it. Okay, sometimes the problem is, it could be inside us. Our sales is not yet good enough. Sometimes delivery is great in our current market, but when you're looking at a new market, the delivery is a challenge. Sometimes you as a business owner become the bottleneck. Okay, with your current business, I think you have the space to do it. But the moment you add your expansion plan, suddenly you realize there is too many things on your table waiting for your decisions and approvals. So you yourself your bandwidth becomes the bottleneck over here, right? So before we start discussing expansion, let's look at the reasons, the traps, and how do we avoid them. The first one that is there is analysis paralysis, where we've been thinking about expanding in that market, whichever market you've thought about, for a very long time. You've been researching, you've been talking to maybe potential dealers, distributors, all of that aap kar rahe ho, but you've still not been able to make that decision. Okay, so this is one trap. I see quite a few people think this idea to mere paas bahut dinon se. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. So how do we do that? How do we kind of break that? Is to try and have conversations with real customers in that geography, whichever market that you're planning of. Have questions, have discussions with them, rather than just doing your secondary analysis or online analysis. Yes, Rakesh.
So, our problem is like we are not analyzing enough. So we went in terms of doing many experiments, and most of them made us to lose money and time.
Hmm.
So as a part of this question, like I also like to understand, one is how do we understand, imagine we are dealing with a product, and like what is the market capital, like what is the market size of that particular product, and what is how do we find this, how do we find these data points?
Okay, so good point. We will discuss some of these in the coming sections, but just to give you a little context over here, I find that the industrial association data points quite a good starting point. I won't say they're the best, but they're a good starting point. Okay, and we have a lot of if you I don't think I have included that information in my workbook, but I'm happy to share some of these data points which are available, or Google searches that will help you get this information about the market size, and also who are the big players in that area. That's definitely one. But the second thing which really simple, I think there's a simpler solution for that, Rajesh, is to just use one of the AI platforms which are very good in research. Perplexity is good, especially for Indian context. I find Perplexity very good. I think even I've been told even Claude is good, but I don't know whether it's applicable for the Indian context. Just tell them this is the market. I want to know what's the market size, which is give me the source of that data point. Give me the big players, who are already there, big competitors who are already there. Who are the smaller ones that I have to consider? I think this is a great way for you to kind of get that information. Have you tried that already, Rajesh?
Actually, maybe yeah. We maybe like one takeaway, good takeaway is perplexity, because I've not tried that. Maybe I tried to do something, but maybe didn't give me the local information.
Got that. So I do this one thing which is there. And the other things before AI, my approach was, and I've opened up new markets for so many of my businesses earlier. One of the things I've always done is to figure out the industrial association in that area, figure out who is the current president, chairperson, membership person, and go and have this discussion with them. Nothing better than that. It
Okay.
works. This is before AI came in. This is what I would do. Figure out on LinkedIn who's, in fact, I'm doing exactly that because I'm traveling to Lucknow this month end, and I wanted to figure out about the Lucknow market. I've just reached out to the Industrial Association chairperson over there. I've reached out to some of the other people who are working in that area and asked for introductions.
Okay.
Right. So that works. For me, nothing better than real conversation with human beings. That's me, but yeah, it's worked for me every time.
Okay.
Okay, Ashwant is clear, is validating that Claude does an amazing job for market research. So yes, please go ahead and do that. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, the second point, which is I see that the mistake that we do quite often is to copy paste two things, either our existing strategies or copy paste what competitors are doing into the new market. Okay. So what's working in your current market may not work in the new market. So that's one thing you need to be conscious about before you just saying, whatever I'm doing here, I can do it over there also. There's a very interesting book that says what brought you here will not get you there. It talks about expansion, but it says not about for new markets. It just says that what has worked in the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years may not work right now, especially today with AI and the mark and one AI, two, especially in India. I see a lot of focus from the government to to build in India, right? So there are. I'm talking to somebody who's a consultant for exports, and she's talking about some of the programs that the government has to encourage production in India and exporting them. So I have a lot of people coming in this space. So the markets are changing, right? So definitely what was your strength in maybe your current market, in the new market, let's just don't blindly expect ki wo bhi same teach will work there also, will also be the same strength. It has different dynamics. So don't, so do the homework, which is what we are going to be doing today, before you just simply copy paste what's already working for you. Okay. The other one is copy pasting what competitors are already doing. Again, like I said, in this same room, two businesses, you may have completely different strengths, completely different business dynamics, and that is why your own expansion plans will be very different. The same thing applies for the larger market also. Okay. The last one, and here I'm going to share my own personal story, that we get some signals. Say, oh, this is a great one, so I think I should expand into this market. For example, one distributor is showing some interest. You get some two inquiries from new customers in one particular geography. We have some people saying, hey, I think you should be present over here. And suddenly that becomes our expansion plan. So I'm going to share some story, my own personal mistake that I did. Okay. I had these HR consulting businesses, which was catering to all the sales positions in India. Okay. And we were one of the largest sales hiring consulting company. And at that time, some of my clients who were from India had gone to Dubai, and they then reached out to me and said, hey, Neetu, can you help? Can you also help us hire for the Dubai markets? And I was able to do for that. So I started believing that, hey, Dubai is a great market, because my billing there was much more higher compared to the Indian market. The thought was that, hey, you know what? Let me start my consulting business in Dubai also. So that's one or two conversations from customers. Okay. It was like, okay, the signal is very strong. There is interest. I flew down to Dubai. I met a couple of people, and they said, we would love if you set up operations over here. We would definitely love to work with you. Okay. So this was like a signal, and based on that, I decided I'm going to set up an office in Dubai. I went ahead, got a partner who's a localite over there, an Indian person whom I knew personally when he was here in India, and we actually launched the Dubai business. Okay. So, and here's what happened. This was in 2008. Does anybody know what happened in 2008 in Dubai? The first time Dubai faced recession was that year, the year we registered. Okay, so just to give you a little call, that's how just getting the initial signals, and we went and set up the whole business over there. And then, of course, the market crashed. Apparently, of course, people who were already there locally knew that this was coming, and we did not know about it much. Okay, I'll tell you more about what happened a little later on that. Okay, so these are three expansion traps I wanted to be conscious about. Okay, the next thing is, before we start testing the new market, I also want you to look at your existing business. Okay, if we have inefficiencies in our existing business, and when we plan for expansion, these inefficiencies will also expand. Okay, so for example, if you have cash flow challenges with your existing business, obviously with expansion, that cash flow challenges is just going to multiply. Okay, if your sales team is unable to close, you're getting leads, but your sales team is unable to close currently, then expanding into a new market will also mean that this problem could also follow you there. Even if you are hiring new salespeople, because this could be a sales process challenge, not just a sales team challenge, right? So before we start asking, is this a good market? We need to ask, is our business ready to carry, our current business is ready to carry the, I will say, load and effort of this new business. Okay. So how are we going to be doing is, Now I want you to think with whichever expansion plan that you've got in your mind, which you selected at the beginning, okay, which part of your current business will struggle? Okay, so visit that. Is it your sales capability? That means, like I gave the examples, your current sales team doesn't maybe doesn't know how to sell to. If you're saying I want to get into government sales, okay, does your sales team have the capability to reach out to government or get government projects? If they're looking at moving from corporate to smaller SMEs, do you have the sales capability, or vice versa, whichever way, international versus domestic, whichever it is, right? Then delivery and operations. I'm sure this is something that you guys have considered, but I'm just putting it over here. Capacity, whether you have the capacity to cater to the new markets, your working capital and cash flow. I think there is a session based separately on this for you guys, a third masterclass, which is going to be focusing on this, but this is also something that is there. Your team ownership. What does it mean? Team ownership is your team ready to take on the responsibility of the new market expansion? So one of my clients was telling me this. They had this particular challenge. They were based out of Mumbai, and they decided to open up the Pune branch. Pass nahi hai, makes logical sense. We have lots of clients from Pune anyway coming and buying services from us. So let's open up a Pune branch. And initially they had asked their sales head from Mumbai itself to manage the Pune also. But obviously for this person who was based out of Mumbai, his first preference was the Mumbai business. So Pune business was getting a step-sisterly, step-brotherly, कि वो बाद में करते हैं, पहले let's focus on my Mumbai business. Mumbai being the head office, invariably the pressure points is always there because the entire leadership team is sitting in Mumbai itself, right? So quickly they realized that the team with all the good intentions was not able to take ownership of the Pune team, and so the Pune branch. And then that's when they realized that we have to hire somebody for the Pune branch also. But by the time they had seen, they made this decision, they realized the decline or the gap in the revenue which they were expecting for at least 3 to 6 months before they made this decision. So this is something I want you to become cognizant about at the beginning itself. Then, of course, your own bandwidth. I gave you the example. Marketing support. If you're looking, like some of you have spoken about shop-in-shop models, other distributors and dealers with whom you want to sign up with, right? Do you have access to those guys? That's the shop. That's the part that I'm talking about. And your current business stability. We don't want a situation where you are focusing on the next growth at the cost of your existing growth. So if you are busy with your future expansion plans, okay, that means you're not focusing on your current business. So which parts of your current business cannot operate without your attention, or if the cash flow is getting redirected to the new geography, new businesses, whichever it is, right? If what will happen to the existing business, whichever it is, what is the current business impact on the current business if all your resources, focus, attention is moved into the next segment, right? So this is what I would like all of you all to look into this. Identify at least 2 areas which are at high risk, and we can start planning what to do with this. Any questions on this slide?
Neetu, from
Yes.
our end, we see almost 6-7 areas where we see a challenge.
Ooh, okay.
So that means we should just close and do our operations, right?
Yeah. So Rajesh, I will tell you what to do for that also, right? So we will stagger your growth plan and I'll tell you what that is there. But I'm glad that this is become visible for you right now, or you're acknowledging that it is there right now, because that would mean now you need to plan for this also, right? You're not just planning the speed and velocity at which you're running with the new business, new market expansions, you're also looking, you're pausing and looking at what can get impacted and making sure you de-risk yourself over here before just going headlong towards the new markets.
Yeah, right.
But thank you for sharing this so honestly, Rakesh. I'm sure, Rajesh, I'm sure some of us are in this space, and that's why I thought it was important for us to put this slide over here. Okay. Now there's one more thing which is equally important, is to compare the cost of starting and the cost of sustaining a new market. Let me complete my Dubai story here. Okay. So when we set up our offices in Dubai, we had calculated all the visible cost. On your screen is the top of the iceberg, right? So Dubai, I don't know if I'm sure some of you must be knowing, there is a registration cost. You pay, at that time there was no taxation, but now there is. But I used to say taxation was not there, but you need, before you earn even a rupee, you have to pay a substantial registration cost at Dubai to register your business itself, right? So so they all of we saw that we had planned all the cost for that. Okay, and on paper it looked manageable, and that the India business would be able to fund this for the next 1 year. I was very happy that we have done all of this. Okay, but what we had not calculated, what is below the iceberg. Generally, if you know the iceberg model, it says that what is visible above is very a small portion, but what is actually not visible is the bigger bulk of the challenges. So what we had not calculated was that as an investor in a Dubai business, I had to constantly travel, for one, obviously for new customers, and two, also because of the visa regulations, right? So I was spending anywhere between 10 to 15 days per month in Dubai to set this whole thing up. So there was travel cost, staying cost, and the cost of staying away from my India business. Okay. Then the initial inquiries which I got, which was the signals that I got, I realized none of them got converted. Because ultimately, when we did set up operations there and we went to them, said, oh, nice, 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 and we will come back to you. Some of them was also because the market crashed. Okay. And obviously the requirements which were there in the horizon have completely vanished away. That was there. But that meant that we decided anyway, we have already set up the operations. Let's continue. We will do it at a low key. If we are able, by the time this recession crosses over, we would have established our relationships and we would be ready. It worked for us. Our strategy did work. But what we did not calculate was the cost of sustaining, the cost of staying visible. Okay. The other thing which did not work for me is that my co-founder who was there, my partner who was there, he's very good with managing existing relationship, but he was not comfortable with going out and networking and getting new businesses. That meant that I had to be present more and more. So I did not even there's a cost attached to that. That was not something that I had calculated. So the learning was very clear that we had planned the cost of starting, but we had not planned the cost of sustaining over there. In simple language, I think a lot of you would have thought we would have said, okay, for how long should our existing business be supporting the new business? And when you're making that calculation, don't just think about starting, but also the sustaining part of it. Okay, so the idea is, how long can we fund the market, the new market, until the market starts funding itself and until the market starts funding us. So that's the learning that we have in this. Okay, so now this is the second section in your workbook, which is called the expansion readiness check. So there are multiple aspects which are there. I wanted to go through that and see which part of your business will struggle first. And if you find yourself multiple reasons over there, then I would say just take a pause, identify your top 2, and then work at how can you de-risk yourself as there. Again, it will be very different for each one of you. And once we've identified this, then when we're doing a 90 days plan, we can also start addressing them in advance. Well, I put a wait for you to look through this. Any questions anybody has?
What do you mean by Mark II top readiness risk?
So, which is, you mentioned that you could see 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to pick up your top. Which one is the top highest risk for you?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You're not, these things are not yet ready, and they would create a bigger stumbling block for you if you ignore them right now. Identify those 2 and we can work with those 2.
Okay. Got it.
Right? Again, the logic here is that why we'll have to address everything. If we try to do everything together, it will become a challenge. Okay. So now let's from now that we've established all the things that we have to consider before looking at expansion, let's talk about the expansion itself. Okay. We are going to be talking about how do we look at the multiple market expansion options that you've considered. From that to which one is the priority market that you're going to focus upon. Okay. Now, going back to the first slide, we saw that there are multiple selections that is there. You have intuitively chosen 1 or 2 of them. Now, from here, I wanted to test what you have chosen to make sure that you have made the right choice. Okay. So, how are we going to do is we're going to treat even your market selection as a funnel, like first as a big 5, like some of you had 5, 6 ideas. From there, we will reduce it to smaller, and then come down to the exact one that is there. So how are we going to be doing that? We're going to be spending some time on defining this market that we have identified clearly. We're going to check for feasibility and access. We are going to give it a score. I'm going to give you a small scoring. It's there in your book also. And then we are going to talk about tiering, which is what I was telling Rajesh. I will tell you how to sequence your market expansion, keeping in mind that you have a lot of existing risks which could impact your expansion plans if you have not looked into all of this. So we're going to work with each one of these step by step. So let's start with the first one, which is defining your market clearly. Now, I'm sure some of you guys have already done this very intuitively, but I still want you to do the workbook, because what it will do is all the decisions that is there in your mind. And this is where I see a lot of people who have been running their business for quite some time. You've made decisions in your mind without breaking it down. Okay. And this is the reason that it becomes difficult for you to transfer this responsibility and ownership to somebody else. This document will help you with that also. Okay. It will help you. One, you'll become conscious that, hey, why did I choose, let's say, Maharashtra as an option, or export as an option, or digital presence as an option? What was it that I intuitively knew that also gets documented, so that next expansion plan you can actually follow this same framework as such. Okay. So how do we define our markets? So let's start with it sounds very simple. Where do you want to grow? So it's a specific geography, if that's there. Who is your customer segment? Is it a specific industry or a typical type of account? Okay. With what product, services, or problem of your customer that you're going to be addressing, and how will you do it? Will you go there directly? Will you go there to distributors? Which are the routes that you're going to be taking? Okay. So let me give you as an example. Okay. when we say we want to enter Maharashtra, or we want to export, or we want to target tier 2 cities, okay, it's still not complete enough. So for us, for me, a market is a combination of where you want to go, who do you want to sell to, what problems that you are going to address, or what products that you want to focus upon, and how do we plan to reach. This four decisions is a part of the major decision. So when we say, uh, instead of just saying I want to reach, I want to expand to Maharashtra as an example, we say, okay, we want to target the mid-sized manufacturers in Pune through direct sales and industry networks, right? So, or mid-sized manufacturers of electrical components, as an example, right? So the clearer this market is for you, the easier it will be for you to do the next steps, which is feasibility check, attractiveness, winnability, etc. So absolute clarity on who's your market. If you see what on top, market is equal to where, who, what, and how. And this is also there in your workbook. Break down the market which you have targeted. Now, let me give you some specific case studies. Okay. Here, this is a client of mine, very interesting case study. They have around 250 customers and about 1,700 opportunities. Okay. But they were stuck at 100 crores being they were in the space of manufacturing processes for electronics. Okay. In spite of this, they've been stuck at 100 crores in the last 3 years. So they hired me and they said that, Neetu, we have to look at our expansion plans. We want to grow beyond 100 crores. We have enough of opportunities, but we are not able to close it. So maybe it's a sales team problem. Maybe it's a sales process problem. The founder doesn't come from a sales background. He's a hardcore engineer, technical guy. So that was the question. That was how they have. That was how they defined their challenges. Okay. So when I looked at it, I was focusing on why was this a problem for the customer? Okay, what was happening in their sales? And we realized that since I looked at the numbers, 1,700 opportunities, etc. Okay, I realized for them, the growth direction is not to add new sales guys or not to only add new sales guys or only do training for the sales guys. I realized that the market directions, that the sales approach itself was wrong. Instead of asking which new markets should we enter, we started looking at which existing accounts can give us deeper growth, because they had a limited sales team currently, so which was the low hanging fruits. And what was very interesting, when we started asking these questions, we shifted our attention from going out there and getting new accounts to a very key account growth, key account management strategy that is there. And it's coming out so beautiful, guys. I must tell you, it's just amazing. I have multiple emails from the business owner telling me that, it's changed the energy of the team, where earlier each team was given, each team member was given 40 customers to work with. And these are all long sales cycles, like a lot of stress that was there. And this is techno-commercial sales, right? So sales guys have to not just manage sales, but also the technical part of it. So it's a techno-commercial role that was there. Okay. From there, we shifted to 8 key accounts, strategic key accounts, and then another strategy for the non-key accounts. And suddenly I remember some email from him, from the founder, saying that this seems to be a luxury for my sales team, that if they focus on these 8 key accounts, they are going to be able to meet their revenue targets and also do the delta, which I have proposed, that we are going to increase the revenue target now that we have a clarity in which direction we are going to be growing. Okay. So sometimes what happens is the next market could not be outside with your existing accounts itself. We have defined strategies for them for figuring out which large accounts has multiple divisions and where we are not doing business with all the divisions. Which large account where we are doing business is this company is based out of Bangalore. So we are doing work with them in Bangalore, but we are not doing work with them in other locations. Which accounts have outsourced contract manufacturers, okay, who are sharing the manufacturing load, and we are talking only to the OEM, we're not talking to the contract manufacturers, and sometimes vice versa, where we are talking to the contract manufacturers, but we're not talking to the OEMs for whom they are doing the contract. So we were able to just identify at least 5 different directions only with key account. Okay. And the moment we broke this down and just distributed 8 accounts, we looked at potential. Suddenly, the target that he was looking at 100 crores with the current mapping that we have done, they're already at 125 crores currently itself, not even without addressing new markets. In fact, removing some of the accounts which are high effort and low profitability for the customer also. So that's the one example that I wanted to share with you. Now, let's look at the second one, which is once you've looked at the market access, let's look at the feasibility. There are 2 things I wanted to look at. First one is there any barriers which will give us challenges? Till now, we said we look at internal barriers and looked at external barriers, regulatory barriers, licenses, tax compliances, logistics, whichever it is. Okay, so I have to give you one simple example. Couple of years ago, we were running online campaigns for the airports of India. Okay, and we were issuing digital coupons and digital lucky draws. Now we were doing extensive business with Bangalore, and we thought, okay, now it's great for us to look at which are the other airports that we're going to be working with. So the obvious choice when we're based out of Bangalore is to look at Chennai International Airport also, right? What was interesting is that we quickly realized, because we have the lot information, that in Chennai, I don't know how many of you know, in Tamil Nadu, even lucky draws is illegal. So we couldn't and we could not go to the Chennai airport with our existing product of lucky draw, which was a huge success with the Bangalore airport. Okay, so just a simple example of that quick feasibility check. We didn't even we went and met Hyderabad, Delhi, and Mumbai airport, but we never spoke to Chennai at all, because that lucky draw was one of our first digital products that we had. So something similarly like this is what we're looking at, macro feasibility, that could make it difficult for you to, or expensive or risky to enter into that market. That's the first part. The second part is the access. Do you have access for that? The market is open, but if you don't have access to them, then that could also be a specific challenge. What do I mean by this? I'm going to give you one example over here. Again, one more client of mine. Okay. This is a pharmaceutical equipment distributor based out of Bangalore, and they work with all the leading hospitals of Bangalore. Okay. So when they engaged me to, again, increase their sales revenues, I quickly figured that out. It logically means that, okay, if you're working with 10 hospitals of Bangalore, can you work with 20 hospitals of Bangalore, right? But they had their business model was such that the OEMs that they were in this industry would map out the hospitals to the distributor. So there are 10, let's say 3 of 10 distributors in Karnataka. So they would say, okay, you work with, let's say, Manipal Group, you work with Columbia Asia, you work. So they have mapped out the hospitals. So then, even though their customers were there, they couldn't sell. This particular distributor had certain list of hospitals whom they couldn't sell. Okay, so the expansion was not simple that way. Okay, so that was one of the challenges that we got this. Okay, so we realized that if we have to look into expansion strategies over here, the limitation was the OEM limited, the original equipment manufacturers. They limited and said you cannot sell beyond the hospital that have been allocated to you. So we had to change our entire approach with them. We did two things. One, obviously, was we looked at how do we bring in new products in the market or new players in the market, in Karnataka market who don't have, where we can map out the hospitals that we want to work with. So the expansion became now bringing in new products rather than targeting new customer segments. That was one. Okay. The second thing, which is very interesting, was I was asking them, how do the OEMs map these hospitals? Okay, what is the logic that they use? And it was more about relationship building. So we said, how do we build that relationship? And we reversed this and we started talking to the OEMs and telling them, we are hungry, we want more business. Which other hospitals, which other geographies don't you have presences? Let's see, can we work over there? And this is very interesting. We mapped out, they work with about 21 different OEMs. We picked up one OEM. I helped them design the conversation that they're going to be having with the OEM, and we called them over to the office. We sat there with them. We spent the 4-5 hours discussing this. And what was interesting was within the next 2 months, these OEMs, when they understood that this distributor is somebody who is hungry and ready to go out, hire salespeople, go out and meet more number of hospitals, they gave them additional products, new products, which the OEMs were introducing in the market, which we didn't know till that time, and said, you take this and go out in the market and sell it for us. And within 2 months, we increased our revenue from them from a few, lakhs to something in crores. Okay, so here expansion was very different. There was discussion with the OEMs, and two, going out there and bringing new products from completely different new players into the Karnataka region as such. Okay, so here that if you have a market, but if it is access is not is something that you can't access, then that is where we have to do the where we have to do the feasibility and the access launch. I'm going to put a pause over here. Does anybody have any of these challenges?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Srijit, you want to share something?
Yeah, the market access as such, we cannot directly contact to the OEMs, and in the USA market, they doesn't reply to the mail, doesn't reply on the calls.
Correct.
So it's not an easy to access the market in that particular area.
So which are the alternate? That's the place where we look at alternatives, right?
Yeah.
Because market, everybody knows US is big, UK is big, all of that, everybody talks about it. But obviously, there is a challenge with that. So that means feasibility is there, but access is
limited.
Access is a challenge that is there, which is where we look at what are the alternatives that you can explore.
Yeah. So
any thoughts on that?
I try to connect them to LinkedIn. Still, it's not easily accessible.
Correct.
We have to identify the correct key account who is handling the purchase, who is handling this thing, so he can get connected. And still, it's a long process to convert them to buy our cylinders. Yes.
Absolutely. I will be talking about one of those examples in a little later. How do you kind of address that, right? But LinkedIn, I think, Shrija, it's a great place to be. But unless your profile on LinkedIn is very strong, you will not get responses. So I don't know how would you evaluate your own presence on LinkedIn? That is one. And two, from the customer's perspective, they have multiple people reaching out to them as it is. You're one of them. So what would make you or your message or you stand out from, let's say, 10 other LinkedIn invites that the same person is getting? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, solution-oriented messages, I think it will create a more impact.
Perfect. So if that's what you're saying, are you already doing that?
Yeah, I'm already doing that. Still,
And is
it's
that
a
working?
slow process. Yes,
Yeah.
still it's
So
the
you
process.
again. So okay, this is a great example, Srijit. Okay, we assume that something will work. Okay, logically it says it should work. Okay, but after applying it, it is still not working. Okay, so that means you haven't arrived at the solution yet.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so solutioning. And one more thing is, I'm assuming every other service provider who's reaching out to the decision maker is saying the same thing,
correct, correct.
right? So that's not the solution, definitely, right?
Yes,
So we have to look at some examples. I will talk. There's a small, simple framework. When I talk about the type of customers, we will discuss that.
okay,
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
Yes, Sudarshan.
Macro feasibility, when we expand our territory,
Mm,
we have a logistic difficulty. We are in a crane business. In nature,
mm,
our products are lengthier, like 80 feet, 100 feet. So transport cost make or product cost expensive. So that is
mm.
why there are many manufacturer placed in a cluster basis in the
Got
cities.
it. Got that.
So still there are many companies are expanding beyond territories,
Mhm.
states. Uh, but this is expensive when we move first time into that market.
Got that.
So we
Got
have to
that.
compromise some time or price.
Got that. That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm not very sure how this comes in over here, but we will talk about the financial part of it also briefly towards the end, because there's a separate section that you got guys have on financials. We will talk about it in that space. Okay. Hmm?
Okay, madam.
Sure. Okay. Let's move ahead. Uh, the next one is testing your attractiveness against your winnability. Okay, the same thing that you've got. Now, it's like we were just discussing which region, market is very attractive. For most of us, US, UK markets is very, very attractive. Okay. But just focusing only on it being attractive, but if we are not able to win over there, okay, then it's a lot of effort with a very, very less results. This is where we're looking at testing the attractiveness and winnability. So what does it mean by attractiveness? Is the market size, like somebody was asking, is the market size for that particular geography, margin potentials, customer, how does the customer, is there a intensive need intensity over there, repeats business potential is there, the quality of the revenue. What is the quality of the revenue? Wherein the profitability is high, repeat business is there, credit terms are favorable, right? What else is there? What are the different things about revenue quality? The if there is ongoing business, year-on-year contracts, all of these are revenue quality that is there. That's on what we're looking at, revenue quality. The second one is winnability. Okay, do we have access to the buyers? What about the competitions over there? What about our own capability to sell and deliver? This is where we spoke about, it is expensive to deliver over there. Payment cycle. So we have to look at a combination. Ideally, what do we want? We want somebody where it's high attractive but high winnability. I'm sure all of you have already looked at attractiveness, but winnability is the new component that I'm introducing over here. The reason is because as what we said at the earlier initially, that we want to look at growth into those markets where we can win. So among all the multiple options that you've got, okay, look at the one where your winnability is also high, not just the attractiveness is high. Let me give you an example about this. Each one of these have built in these examples over here. Okay. This client of mine is a high-end interior design. They manufacture. They're a manufacturer of high-end interiors made out of concrete. This is a German designed solution, but they have a manufacturing setup. Okay, here in India. Now, for them, Mumbai and Delhi, they're based out of Bangalore. Mumbai and Delhi is very high potential markets where we have a lot of people who have who spend huge amount of money in their interiors, both office and home. Okay, so before they signed up with me, they already had partners in this location. Okay, and they they are in the business. This is a sixth or seventh year of business when they signed up, after which they signed up with me. And these partners in Mumbai and Delhi have exclusivity. So they signed up an exclusivity part that no other partners will be there over there. But unfortunately, both Mumbai and Delhi were underperforming. In fact, Delhi never performed. Mumbai initially performed very well, but slowly, over the last 3 years, their revenues had fallen down drastically. Okay, so now what was happening is, while it makes logical sense that Mumbai and Delhi is the space where they have to expand their revenue, they have a good control on the Bangalore market, but Mumbai and Delhi is where they will is where they that's the next segment. But because of their exclusivity with their customer, with their current partners, right, they were not able to expand over there. So so they had it was at markets were attractive, but the winnability was something which they were struggling with. And so that's the problem we said that we have to focus upon. And we realized that it's with the Mumbai partner who had slowed down, it was just a matter of bringing the partner program to their attention and help and showing them a bigger piece of the pie which they can get if they start working with us, right? Showing our roadmap, what we are planning to do in the future. And we were able to get the Mumbai partner to to again start focusing on our product line. But the Delhi is just not interested. And they're not. So we've realized that when it comes to the Delhi partner right now, we have said for the next 90 days, we are not going to focus on Delhi because Delhi has a lot more other things. We need to renegotiate the contract or cancel the contract. That's going to take a lot more time. So there is a high potential market, but unfortunately, it's blocked for us. Okay. So this is that is why it's important for us to also see if there is a block winnability over there. Okay. Now, the last one, and this is where I think it will help Rakesh also. When we see these challenges, which is there, and we realize that some market, while we have got 5-6 market expansion plans, there are some markets which will require a lot more effort. So what we do, we create a sequence of expansion. Okay. In the next 90 days, we look at which are markets where we have high winnability, the risks which we are identified are controlled. Okay, maybe even low-hanging opportunities are there for us. That's the one that we will look at immediate focus. So you don't cancel your or postpone your entire expansion because I have scared you that you have this risk, you've got you need winnability. Don't do that. Rather than, like I said at the beginning, market expansion is like a funnel. So you funneled it down to at the bottom is which is the market which you are ready to go and start working on immediately. So that could be your next 90 days or your 6 months plans. Okay. Then the second one is where you need to build something, whether it is capability building within your teams, whether your product has to be adapted, whether there is certain certificates that have to be acquired before you start selling over there. All of those things can become your next 12 to 12 months, which are 12, I've given examples of 12 to 24 months, but it depends on your own businesses, right? Some of you may need a deeper validation. How do I actually, I assume that I have a lot of customers who want to get into the UK markets, right? But UK markets is highly, compliance is very, very high. the kind of certifications that they have, and they have banned so many products from countries like India, Bangladesh, what do you call this, Philippines, etc. Because there are certain products, ingredients that we use, which they have tagged it as, dangerous or chemical or cruelty, which we don't even have that context in our countries. Okay, so for us, what is acceptable is not acceptable over there. So that so if you do want to enter those markets, we need to make sure that these pieces are in place. So that can come at your 12 or 24 months program. And then there is the ones which require a lot of customer shifts, stronger team, lot more capital for you, building new products completely. I've seen some of you mention that new products is what you are looking at an expansion plan. So if your new product development NPD itself is going to be a year or two, then that particular market becomes your future horizon market as such, right? So, Rajesh, for you, what I was talking about is, since you've identified that there are certain existing risks with your existing businesses, if you had to filter that down, and then you can still look at which is the immediate focus markets rather than completely abandon your your market expansion.
I'm getting that, Neetu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Also, additionally, I have noticed that some of you have already filled this up, thinking about before, have already worked with the Vadwani team and identified this is my GTM, this is my finance plan, this is my right. So some of these goals could also be sequenced like this, right? So your supply chain goal, for example, predominantly is where you're building capacity, logistics, etc. That could be something which is your 12 months or your long-term goals. Okay. So even your goals can be sequenced accordingly, and that's like your market expansion. Yes, Sudarshan.
Yes, ma'am. Right now, our challenge is to build a sales systems, madam. Bring people and make them perform. So that is the challenge we have right now.
And we will talk about that on 23rd. 23rd, that workshop is on building sales systems and processes which are repeatable and which will help you generate your revenue goals. Okay, that's for that session. Okay, this is because today's session is focused only on market expansion. Where you should, why you should, that's a part of it. Okay, now let me quickly share an example with you again. Another client of mine, this one is in the logistics business, and they had 35 locations across India. Mumbai-based organization. This is the Mumbai-based company that I was talking to you about. Okay, so when they started working with me, they were telling me that Neetu, we are already 35 locations. Okay, and we want to expand. Very similar challenges. We've been stuck at 250 crores for the past 2 to 3 years. We are a 60-year-old organization, third generation that is working on this, right? So when we looked at this, and one of the things that we were looking at is how do we get sign up with more larger corporate accounts, etc., that will give us business for across multiple locations of India. While we were doing all of these things, okay, rather than blindly run behind getting new accounts, what I was looking at is what is the performance of the teams across each locations. And when we looked at it, we quickly looked out, we saw that Ludhiana was an attractive market, but they were not performing. They had not met. It's a new market for they've been there for a year and a half, but they haven't reached profitability yet at all. Okay. And Kolkata was also a market which initially was doing well, but slowly it was, the month on month, they were realizing that the profitability was going down. And here we measured profitability, branch profitability based on the entire P&L, all the cost of operations and the revenues coming in was calculated to come up with the profitability over there, right? So till now, the organization was looking at expansion as a whole. So when we started was saying that let's start looking at expansion as a whole, let's look at expansion, the sequence of the expansion. When we said that we had to break it down and look at every branch and every business unit differently. Well, their business unit was, one was uh, their air export and air import, sea export and sea import, export and sea import. These were the four main sections that was there. Okay, so when we broke this down, we were actually suddenly this became very clear that Ludhiana and Kolkata was hiding behind the fact that they were looking at the whole, the organization as a whole. So one of the things that we did was, because we wanted to sequence that, okay, where should the Mumbai head office is or Nawasaki, wherever they have the big ports which are there, those major areas, their expansions would be different. Okay, whereas the smaller things there, the expansion plans would be different, right? So we wanted to sequence that, and this suddenly became very obvious. So this was not the original intent. They also realized that Pune was a very good market for them, but the team over there, which was earlier, supported by the Mumbai office, then they built their own team in Pune. The existing team also was very limited, right? And they were depending on the Mumbai for pricing. And when it comes to CNF, pricing is a daily affair. Okay, so pricing and the what do you call that? The booking of the ships and the all of that was something that is being done always in head office. So we realized that Pune being such an important market for them, a lot of the manufacturing companies were in Pune, right? So that's why it was important. So what we did, one of the things that we shifted, they were planning to expand the Pune team in sometime in the future. That shift, that sequence became immediate. That became the 6 months plan that went in the future. The others went into the future. Ludhiana, ultimately, after figuring this out, we decided we're going to close down Ludhiana. And Kolkata, we put a program in place. Either we have to improve that, or we have to figure out how Kolkata can be supported by some other geography and not having a regional office, or having a very lean office over there rather than a full-fledged office, right? So even with the existing expansion, we were able to create a sequence. Okay, so expansion does not just mean that you have to be present everywhere. That was their opinion. They came in that we are already 35 locations. How else can we grow? So this is how we grew over here. We did not look at expansion for every same level at every geography, but we looked at which geographies, which one should be focused upon. So we even broke it down over there. Okay. Now, this is the work that you're going to do based on your today's work. You're going to be looking at your market selections. This is the third section where you will look at macro feasibility, market access, attractiveness. Here you can open up all the different ideas that you have, and from there, bring it down to which one is going to be your 90-day market focus. Okay, this is the space where we are looking at not just one idea, but looking at all the ideas that you've got. From there, in the next 90 days, which one is my immediate sequence, immediate thing that I'm going to build and make this happen? And if there anything which you feel that I don't have, that also becomes visible for you when you answer this section of it. Okay. Great. So now we are going to go into your customer. Now that you've understood the market, let's talk about specific customer, which is who is your ideal customer and why are they your ideal customer? Okay. Now, what does it mean over here? When we say I want to enter into, let's say, a different geography, let's say I'm using Maharashtra as an example. You can use anything. You can even use export as an example. Okay. And I'm targeting, let's say, manufacturing companies over there. Then who are you talking in that? Whom are you going to be talking to? Are you talking to the owner? Are you talking to the procurement manager? Are you talking to the finance manager? Are you talking to the production manager? Because all of that defines your expansion, the success of your expansion plan. Let me give this as an example. Okay, this there is a product, let's say, which is selling industrial packaging. Okay, and they are targeting the CEOs of a growing manufacturing company which uses corrugated packing material. Okay, so who is their ideal customer? Okay, this person is, they have identified, is somebody who is having a lot of issue because complaints are coming from their customer about their material which is getting broken because of bad packaging. The problem is not with their material. The problem is because of the bad packaging, it's impacting the quality of the product as such, right? So what he wants to do, he has very specific pain point. He wants to reduce the customer complaints. He wants to reduce the returns, and there's an expense that he's incurring on repackaging and redelivering things new, that he wants to reduce. So for this company who's doing industrial packaging, and not every CEO of manufacturing companies who are using packaging is the right customer. Somebody who has a very pain point, who's already started. Remember, we said the customer is already using somebody. So unless we know what is the problem with them, it will be very difficult for us to convince them. I see a lot of sales guys going and telling, yeah, I know you're working with somebody, but please give us a chance also. No, but why would the customer want to give, spoil their existing setup and take a chance with you? So just by going and saying, give us also a chance, doesn't happen. Okay, so this is why if they have a problem statement like this particular manufacturer has, he has a problem because his packaging is not doing very well. Or I use a very obvious problem. You need to have a conversation with the customer to understand what are the other challenges that they have. What else do they wish that their service providers are offering them, and find your niche over there. Okay, now let's take another example. Okay, this company is selling the child education program. Let's talk about your international education, right? So they're targeting the fathers and of somebody, or the father of a school going daughter who is planning her future. Okay, now what is the ideal customer for them? He is not thinking about cost. He is thinking about his child's future. Okay, it's very important that they trust on the suggestion that you're giving, and of course the long-term impact, because it's going to impact his daughter's entire future. So that is it becomes very obvious that this is what is important to him. Okay, let's take a third example: smartphone. Let's say an iPhone. We are targeting any individual customer. Let's say it's a guy and he's an affluent professional. Okay, now what is an ideal customer for us over there is that he wants to be, there's a brand that he associates. He's an experience that he wants from an Apple, and the status of an Apple is what matters for him more than the even price or the utility. That is what is there. That is matter. So when we define our customer persona like this, okay, if you see the first two segments is about who is my customer, but who is my ideal customer is the why. Now, I see a lot of us do the market category, we do the market segmentation, we don't do why they are our ideal for us. Okay, the why is the one which becomes very, very powerful for us to do this. So, and if you see, it's very much possible that it's the same person who is the client for all these three businesses. He is the CEO of a manufacturing company. He's also has a daughter, and he's also potentially buying an iPhone for himself. Can be the same person, but the why for buying these services for each one of them is very, very different. And that is what we need to know about our customers. This is one thing I don't see many businesses do that. And the ones who do it are able to use this very, very strongly. Okay. So let me also tell you what have we, what is it that we are measuring over here? Sorry. Where did it go to? 1 minute. Why did it go to this slide? It suddenly went off to a very different slide. Let me bring it down to the, yeah. Okay, so what are we seeing over here? Okay, what we have done is when you're identifying who's your right customer, these are the parameters what you're going to be measuring. What kind of organization are we looking at? That's the firmographic. What is the decision of the person? Is he a decision maker? Is he a user? Is he somebody who's an approval? Like, you know, a lot of the larger companies have a procurement manager. Okay. The procurement manager is typically the one who is either the one who's giving the approval or the decision maker. Okay. I know lots of businesses who are talking to users, but they don't have the decision authority. Those are the guys you were talking to, they're not going to help you close that business. Right? So that's where we're looking at. What is their buying behavior? Some of the larger corporates have a buying window. Many of them have finished planning their purchases for 2026 by March 31st. You will hear them, if you go to them, they will say, oh, we already have finalized this. We will not be able to add any new service providers or vendors. Come, we will talk about you only next year. Right? So we need to know whom we are talking. What is for that, as that organization, what is their behavior? Purchase processes also. I know some large corporates who have decided that we will only work with 2 or 3 vendors. Any new additional vendors will become a sub-vendor to that person. Do you have any such cases, anybody here, where your main client is not adding any new vendors? They will tell you to route your billing and your whole thing through another service provider. Do we have that? Anybody has that kind of a thing? No? Okay, great. So what we're doing is we are going in deeper into understanding who is the person in my customer's organization and getting to know them a little bit more deeper. Okay. Anybody here is using technology also, who's selling technology to a customer who's never used technology before? No, then I will not use that example. I will move ahead as such, right? So these are some of the parameters that you should be aware about when you are when you're working to understanding why would somebody work with me. The customer shift that we spoke about, okay, that answer for you will come to you if you do this exercise. Okay, I'm also going to be sharing with you a perfect example of a customer profiling ICP using the same industrial packaging example. So let's say this person is Rajesh Agarwal, who's the founder, and there is a background and demographics. What is he looking at? What is his he is somebody who's running a manufacturing or a trading business, and he has a small team, but he's still managing all the responsibility. Okay, he has certain goals and dreams, which is he wants to reduce customer complaints. He wants a reliable vendor ecosystem. Okay, he's got some fears that any last minute shortages, delays, or any hidden costs, all of this is going to disrupt his hard-earned customers. Okay. And common objections, he will say, he will always compare you with pricing with others or with his existing vendors. He'll tell you, I already have a vendor. So all of these are the things that your sales team, or if you're talking to the customer, you have to be ready on how do we address these. What would influence him? Okay, if he's like proof of reliability. A lot of service providers come and say, oh, we will make sure that, we are just in time delivery. We will make sure that you have 99% of the time our products will reach you on time. So that proof of that is required, right? For him, that is what he's heard too many people telling him. So for the ones who are reaching out to customers on LinkedIn, this is the example I gave you, right? There are too many people reaching out. So what is the what proof are you giving that you are worth exploring? What is the reason that you're giving them, right? Which is not just sounding like a claim that everybody else is giving. So what, and then based on that, what can we do? So once you've understood all this part of him, now if you see here, we are saying we are demonstrating consistently to repeat samples, batch comparisons. We sit with them and do the supply planning. Understand how, what are your seasons? When is your peak seasons? When do you have disruptions? Right? We have a very structured, ordered system so that you don't have to keep following up with us. You will know when the packaging has been dispatched. You will know when it is en route. You will know the delivery date it will come. Whatever is that, because that's his fear, right? So we can specifically talk about that. Okay. And then even use that information for marketing. So even then that, telling that customer, instead of saying we have high quality products, his challenge, his fears are something different. So his fears is not just quality, his fear is that they don't deliver on time. So then your marketing messaging becomes packaging that ensures that your products reach safely every time without follow-ups. It's very simple, but it's powerful because it addresses his challenges. This is again the very first slide initially when I spoke about, why would the customer shift and what will you, what will you do to convince him? This is what comes out of this. And you do their entire piece over here. So in your workbook, you have this template which is there. Spend some time, fill this up. Okay. Here's a very interesting thing that you can also do. If you have a sales team who is talking to the customers, ask each one of them to fill this up independent of each other. Okay. And then compile the information and see what information is coming. In fact, any customer facing role, not just the sales, if you have a support team, a delivery team, whoever is facing the customer, ask them, what do you know about, if you have about this persona of the customer, what are their goals, what are their fears, what do you think will influence them, and then what can we do? What are the objections that they're always making, right? Compile this, you will get you will realize how much of customer insights is already existing inside your team. Okay. And once you've got this, you use this everywhere, from your marketing messages to competitive differentiation. If your marketing content, channel strategies. In fact, one of my best example is even in your hiring strategies. So if you have to hire somebody, hire people who will be able to connect with your ideal customer profile. So somebody was telling me that it's very difficult for me to reach out to certain people who are abroad. Then you hire people or either in your payrolls or partners who already have some kind of an existing relationship with that customer segment. So another example, I think I've not put it on the slides over here. Or did I put it? I think. Okay. I'll see if I have put it and I'll give the example on that. So this is the next section where you have your customer profiling, where you write, whom are you targeting? Get it down to a person. Because goals, dreams, fears is very difficult to write that for an organization. But it's very easy to write that for an individual. The fear of a CEO is different from the fear of a production manager in the same organization. Okay. Any questions on this, guys? No? Shall I move ahead? I'm going to take, I think, 10, 15 minutes more. I'm sorry it's taking a little longer, but I hope you're okay with that. Okay, sure. Okay, so now the next one is, once you've understood your customers, it's time for you to understand your competitors. Remember, I said you are going to be displacing somebody. Okay, and one simple way to do that is to do this competition analysis. So what is the competition analysis? Is just this one single table. And you can create this for each of your competitors in that market. Now, when I'm saying I've used the word competitor or alternative, what is an alternative here is that for some of you, the alternative is not another, the competition is not another service provider. The competition could be that the customer is doing this already on their own. So I have a client who is in the garment manufacturing company. Okay. And their customers are garment manufacturing company. They have a washing unit. Okay. So they are targeting, they have very specific high-end types of washing. Apparently, the like chemical, the print aata. There's some stuff I still haven't figured. It's a new client. I'm still talking to them, but they are targeting companies who already have a washing unit that does not offer the latest types of washing styles. So their competitor is not another washing unit. Their competitor is the client's existing washing units, their own in-house washing units, apparently. Very interesting. I found that. And how do we, so what is their, what is their limitations that is there? How is it impacting their pricing, their services, delivery gaps, those kind of things. So this is the, and you can only do this by, one thing is obviously doing this by talking to customers, talking to dealers, distributors over there. Conversations is really very important. One thing which really, really I love doing is, once you've identified some, 2 or 3 competitors' names who you're constantly hearing, is to just put a Google alert. Especially if it's a large organization, put a Google alert about them. So every time there is any information about them in the market, you get, because of Google alert, you will be able to hear it. Right? I have done that in my work as a coach, as a mentor. There's certain people I know, a lot of SME business owners saying, I've already done this guy's program. I've already done that guy's program. I have a Google alert for that. And I keep here, whenever there is a mention about him or her, I get the information. So I kind of know indirectly what is the competitor doing. And it's very easy for me to tell my clients, what am I doing differently from them. Okay, so this is where you now use the competition mapping grid. Again, this is something only those people, you can ask people in your team to do it, but only the ones who are talking to customers. Okay, don't give this work to somebody else. So if you've got your sales team, even your back-end team, if they're talking to customers, ask them to identify who those customers are, who the competitors are, and what information that you'll realize some team, like your sales team, will know some pieces. The others will know your delivery quality gaps. Somebody else will know. In fact, I remember one of my very earlier organizations, when we did this competition mapping, okay, this was for an IT infrastructure company, and this entire competitor mapping, we got the best information from the support team. because the support team will go to the customer's office and implement things. So they are hearing a lot more things than the sales guys are listening, than they are hearing, right? So we were able to get a lot more information from the support team about the competition. And then we fed that information back to the sales team that this is what the competition is doing over there. And now how do you win against that? In fact, in larger companies, this is also called the competitive battle card. Every competitor will have, for every competition, they will have this entire table and they give it to the sales team. Okay, so the moment you hear this company is also trying to, win the same account, then this is their strengths and this is their weaknesses. And this is how we will be able to win against them. This mapping is done in advance and kept. So the sales guys will just follow that best practices within their organization. Okay, this is up here at a very practical level, frontline sales levels we're doing. But this competition mapping is something that you should definitely do when you're entering into new markets. Okay, we're almost at the end. Choosing the right market entry strategy, which is there, with how will you enter this? Now, this is the one somebody was telling me about, very difficult to access the buyer, right? So the question here is, if we can't directly access the buyer, who already has access to the buyer? Is it a distributor? Is it a dealer? Is it somebody else who has a completely different business and they can become our collaboration partner? Okay. What will make the customer trust us enough to buy? By now, we've understood this. We've worked it with multiple times throughout the session. And last one is, what support is required for us after the sale so that we are able to serve the customer? And this is where the market entry question comes in. So here also, now each one of you can have different entries. Direct sales, distributor sales, or channel partners, digital. I gave the example of key account itself being the something over here. So again, each of these entries that is there has its pros and cons. Okay, so I want you to look at both the pros and cons and then choose the right entry for you. This is another another what do I say? Decision, one decision that you have to make. Okay, I'll give you a quick example here. I don't know if I've got that slide. Did I make the slide? No, I did not make it the slide. Let me see. No, I did not make the slide. This is the manufacturer of a defib. What they use in hospitals for when you have a heart attack, they give you the electric shock, right? This is the manufacturer of defib, and he was targeting tier 2 cities, the hospitals in tier 2 cities. Okay, and he had already tried to hire somebody from the larger companies, and that guy was not able to perform. And he had reached out to me, said, "Ma'am, I'm struggling with this. How should I enter this tier 2 cities in India? I don't know how to do that." And he said, somebody had told me that I have to hire an intern from that location, from that city, wherever I am, so that they can constantly go and talk to the hospitals and try to sell our products. So he's saying, is that the right strategy or not? Because I've already tried hiring somebody senior, did not work out. So the other alternative is the complete opposite, is hire an intern. So I was telling him, let's wait. Let's talk about who has access to your customer. Okay. First of all, who's your customer over here? We identified two things. One, the doctors were the one customer. The second one is the procurement manager of hospitals. Every hospital has a procurement manager. He's the one who gathers all the requirements recommended by the doctors and goes to the distributors and buys it from them. So that means we've got two customers. That's why the customer ICP that we did was very important, right? So for the doctors, who knows the existing doctors in these hospitals? Obviously, an intern will not be able to reach out and even get a meeting with these kind of doctors or decision makers. Then who would be the person? Then he immediately came up with the answer saying that other retired doctors. And apparently he knew somebody in one particular geography. So we said, let's give it a test. We're going to reach out to him. We're going to ask him if he's going to be able to set up meetings for us. He doesn't have to sell the machine for us. He just has to set up meetings for us through his connections. And he actually agreed to it. So we were able to reach out to the doctors. Second one was for the procurement managers who are very, very difficult to reach out to. But the procurement managers, who knows the procurement managers? The distributors. But the distributors of in that location also is somebody who has a lot. He's the kind of person who's sitting in his office, he's getting 100 calls and he's doing all the trading in that. He's not, doesn't have the bandwidth to talk to new people. And the moment I put that ICP in front of the business owner, I said, yes, actually, you're actually right. You're right. Again, an intern will not be able to do any work out there. So that who knows the distributor? Think people from whom he's already buying products. Right? So does it matter? Then we said, okay, let's see who are the people. Then that's the people that we have to hire. Okay. And you won't believe this. Earlier he was thinking about, hiring people who have sold defib machines. Okay. Here, because the relationship with the distributor was so important, we landed up hiring somebody who was selling hospital, that gowns that is there, that they sell, that we use when for patients. We found that guy and we hired somebody like that. And that guy was already knew the distributors. He said, opened up the door, had set up meetings with the founder, and quickly we were able to talk to the distributors and get our products inside there also. Okay, so the entry route for us was a reference partner and a distributor and dealer route, where he was thinking about direct sales only. So that is why the ICP is very, very important for you to be able to identify the right entry over there. Okay. Now, some of you are expecting digital expansion also. How many of you are thinking about digital? Anybody here who's thinking about digital? Dina, yes. So quite a few. Okay. So when it comes to digital, Dina, what are you expecting digital to do? What's the role that digital is doing for you?
Basically, we are into computer rentals.
Okay.
We providing the computer accessories to the day basis or weekly basis to customer. Basically, we covered in Chennai, but we are planning to move on geographical location to other side. The basic question is we are not completing the market size. Maybe below 1% only we already covered in the Chennai. Still, the Chennai have more potential to succeed. So, what we are planning to that, if you move on geographic location, there is a aggregative model which has been a vendor and a customers been loaded in the one platform and make this platform like Amazon, who are all have the computer rentals vendors also part of that platform, and customers who is nearby to the vendor, they took the product from us. So this is very difficult to develop this product because we don't know who want to contact. We spend a lot of money to make the prototype. Still, it's failure. So inventory model also want to track, and compliances, post and pre-order also want to get more data like proof verification, payment clarity, logistics, all should be tracking in digital. So,
got that. So you're building an entire platform itself, your own platform itself, right? Okay, fine. So that's a different challenge altogether, right? Because you're building that entire platform. But I would suggest, Dina, before you build a platform, validate the requirement. validate your sales process, because what happens is if you're, and I've seen this quite often, okay, I have a lot of clients who come and tell me that Neetu, we want a CRM system to manage our entire sales process, okay, but their sales process itself is not there.
Okay.
Okay, and if it is there, it's not yet been validated. So what happens is, if you don't know how to what would make a customer choose rental versus buying or repairing, okay, if you don't know that, okay, and how do you convince them, how do you show them the ROI on that, right? What are the objections that they have, what is the fear they have, you know, all of those things that is there. When will they go for rental? Is it a short term emergency rental, or is it a long term rental? See, once you understand all of these things, based on that you build a digital product platform, sorry.
Sure.
Okay, because if you don't know this answer, you are experimenting something, and building a digital platform today has become much more cheaper than earlier, but it is still time intensive. I don't know about the money. If you are using some AI and all, comes cheaper, but it is still time intensive, effort intensive as such, right? So don't use technology to multiply what is already working. Okay. If you have things that are not working, technology will also multiply that also.
Sure.
Right? So you have to be a little careful about that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. But I'm happy when we do talk one-to-one, we can go a lot more deeper for your work. Okay. But for the others, I want you to think, I've seen some people talking about that we want to be on India Mart, we want to be on B2B marketplaces, we want to build our own marketplaces, etc. When you're thinking about digital expansion, it could mean different things to different organizations. Are you planning to use digital only for visibility, right? Make new markets become available, aware that we are there. So this is more social media, announcing to the world, etc. Right? Or you're looking for lead generation. So this is where maybe ads will come into place. Even figuring out the right channel becomes important, right? If you're just using digital to educate the customer, because your product is something which is very technical in nature, very unique in nature, then the role of digital is different. Right? So what role do you want the digital to play? Let's not always assume it's only to sell, okay? But there are other things that you can also use digital for. Pratisha, did you have any question? Okay. So this is where now you enter your market entry strategy. Which route are you taking? Again, I would suggest think about your 90 days, maybe your first sequence, right? And identify and work that whole thing out for yourself. Okay. Last one is financing. Okay. Just like what I have mentioned, you think about not just the top of the iceberg, but below the iceberg also, all the different expansion investment areas, a simple table for your cost and your time. I've kept this as simple because you will do a more deep dive in the later sessions, right? Again, but focus only on the next 90 days, so you will able to then multiply it later on. Okay. And last one is the risk area. So I've identified 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 risks. We've actually discussed all of these already, but here I've just brought them all together so that based on this, you start planning, okay, if the demand is weaker than expected, what should I be doing? Or how will I validate? I'm assuming if I open my store over there, if I open my office over there, I will get 100 leads in a month. How will you validate the information? Is that possible? Like when I went to Dubai, I was like, okay, I will get so much of business. I get so many inquiries. I'll get so many hiring requirements. I did not validate that. I thought by having 1 or 2 discussions, that was my validation. It was not. Right? But ultimately, it did become successful. It just took me longer than what I have expected. Right? So that's the whole logic over there. So financial planning and risk management is also there, but it's very simple in my session. You can do a little more deeper in the last session. So ultimately, this is what you're going to be building. Okay, this is your 90-day plan, your growth direction. What should the customers move away? Your market focus. Why would who is the specific individual in the customer that you're going to be identifying? Who are they already comparing you to? Who's a competitor? What should your entry strategy be? And ultimately, what must we fund, prepare, or what is the investment and risk that we have to keep in mind? Okay, all of these is part of your work. Okay, so like I said, this is the end of today's session. Next week, we will look at your B2B sales engine. How do we prepare? How do we build that? I'm conscious that I've taken nearly half an hour extra, so I'll try to become a little bit more concise next week, so I don't hold you back like this for such a long time. Okay. So with that, the intention of today's session was twofold for me. One, I started with the premise that all of you already have ideas in which direction that you are going to be growing. What I wanted to make sure is that your choices, your decisions for that and all the related decision that is there, that becomes very, very clear for you. That gets documented. It's very, very important, because when things are working, you go back to this document and understand which decisions actually worked. When things are not working as much as you planned, again, this documentation is going to help you tremendously. Okay. With that, I'm ending my session. What I would love to hear from you is if there's any new learning that you've taken from today's session. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, any change in thought, or something which is still not clear, I'm happy to answer that now. Okay. I want to quickly check with the team here. How many of you have a sales team? Or rather, how many of you don't have a sales team? Dina don't have. Okay, who else? Anybody else? Can you just put in the chat, because
I have
want
internal sales team, but I don't have a marketing person like go and meet the customer directly.
Okay. Cheek. Will do. Nothing except for one person, most of you have a sales team. But I'll think about my sales strategies based on that itself. Okay. Cheek. Will do. Okay, guys.
I have a sales team, but as you know, the OEMs cater very differently. So it is a relationship type of business deal they do. So I have a person who is experienced in the same field pastly. I have onboarded him as our GM sales. I need more salespersons on the same forte, but it's difficult to find out, and it's difficult to have a sales team in the same manner.
Got that. I understand that. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try doing this for the next session. I'll adapt it. I have a framework which focuses on how to build sales systems where, we are able to get the best out of average sales guys.
Okay.
Okay. Because I truly believe that's a challenge that all of us as SME business owners face, that we can't always hire the best out there, because there's a huge cost factor, and they also want to work with very large brands, etc. Right? So the reality is that we've got average sales guys. We don't have the best of them, but we need to make the most out of it. So how do we, if the person is good, they will do it on their own very well. But if the person is average, then the organization's responsibility is to build a sales system which manages this part of it, right? So that's the framework I will share with all of you all next week. Okay. Got that? Okay, guys. no questions. I've either confused the hell out of you today or I've been so clear that there's absolutely no questions. I don't know which one is it. But I do look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow, next week. And also when we do our one-to-one, so we can do a deep dive. I know I've given you lots of sections to think through. And that's why it was important for us to document it, because I'm hoping between now and the 1st of July onwards, when we get to start meeting on a one-on-one basis, there is a lot of thinking work, decisions that you have looked into, and we will have discussions on those very specific points. Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much, Neetu ma'am, for the excellent session. We're looking forward to the session on Tuesday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am. Thanks, Jyoti.
Thank you, madam.
Thanks, Naveen. Thank you.